Okay, what is up, potential suitors? We are here with Hayden and me, Josh, to talk about House of the Dragon episode 3.
Yeah, we're super excited about this episode. I personally really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think both of us agree that it's the top episode so far. They've all been super good, but this one just brought it up to a whole nother level.
So there's a lot going on in the episode. It starts out. We get to see some of the stepstones and the things going on there. We see the creepy crab feeder and his grayscale, and then just shortly after, transition into 3 years later. What's going on with the Targaryen royalty and everything in King's Landing?
So, question for you, Hayden. How do you think they've handled the time jumps so far? Like, have they handled it well? Could they have done better? What are your thoughts on that?
The way that they've done it for me has made me more intrigued in what's going on, because it leaves me guessing, like, oh, what could have happened in between these time jumps that led to like these characters acting in this way. So I think they've handled it really, really well, and I think they're leading up to just the bulk of the dance and the fun part.
Gotcha. So I think for me, when I'm watching the episode, I really, really like it. Like, I feel like I'm still following who the characters are and everything. I mean, they haven't changed actors yet, which I know will happen here shortly. But when I kind of reflect on it after everything, I kind of wonder, like, well, shouldn't the character have changed more in 3 years? Whereas, there doesn't seem to be that much development. So that's kind of, as I reflect on it, the only kind of criticism I have, if you can call it a criticism. But you can't have the characters change too much from one episode to another. Otherwise, you kind of just lose that narrative momentum.
Yeah, totally. I did think Allison changed quite a bit in this time jump. Like, seeing her from being super nervous and like twiddling with her thumbs all the time, kind of like scratching herself, to just this like more confident,
Stately,
happy, like content person was interesting.
That's true. Yeah, I guess so. They did do that. I think I was mostly thinking of Rhaenyra when I said that, honestly.
Yeah, Josh is just sick of Rhaenyra whining all the time. So.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But yes, and then Viserys, like he did he had descended into being a little bit like more unsure of himself. Seems like he was drinking a little bit too much, losing his temper, like in public. Like, he wasn't a great king to start the show, but it seems like he's kind of like, further descending into his insecurities. Even though, he technically has everything that he wanted, from episode 1.
That is true. But now it's all catching up to him, and he's kind of questioning his decision to name Rhaenyra heir, which is pretty big.
So that is kind of one thing. Like, he says in this episode that he never really expected to take another wife. Like, that's kind of, I didn't really buy that. It seems kind of hard to believe. Like, how old is he supposed to be? Because he could be anywhere from like 45 to like
right.
65,
it seems like he's in like his 40s in the show, but in the books he's like 36.
Oh, so he's way
37.
younger. So was he supposed to just like love his wife so much that he like never considered? Because they did have like that bond that they established really well, but it seems like,
I mean, that's all stuff that's kind of come out in the show that we didn't really know in the books about his character. So it's just kind of stuff they're coming up with,
which is fine. Like, I think the character is pretty consistent in terms of the fact that he doesn't really know what he's doing, if that makes sense. Like, he kind of just does what he thinks is best at the time. Kind of like Ned Stark in that sense. Like, he's just trying to make the honorable decision in the moment without really considering the like impacts down the road.
Right. He's not thinking ahead too much or planning out what's going on in the future of the realm, which he should be concerned about as a king. So,
yeah. And he's getting mad about Rhaenyra for not really taking that into consideration,
Yeah, totally.
So okay, let's walk through real fast what happens in the episode so we can give a quick review, and then we're going to go through, and I wanted to talk about the different claims on the throne that we have by the ending of this episode. It's kind of what I wanted to focus on.
Cool. So kind of diving into the episode, the king is going on a hunt, right? And we see some of this, we get to see kind of Westeros again. Like, I really liked those scenes in the woods, in the Kingswood, because it felt like Game of Thrones, where all the travel scenes where they're going back and forth, and so that was really really cool. And then the king, we're celebrating Aegon the Second's birthday, his name day, and there's a lot going on, but Rhaenyra is kind of the focus here. Everyone's looking at her. She's got suitors lined up for her, and she doesn't even know it. And so that's where kind of the heat comes in this episode.
Yeah, I think the episode started a little bit slow, but then slowly like got more into it. It started off, I love seeing like Westeros again. I had taken a tour back in 2018 or 2019 of like Northern Ireland and a lot of the filming locations. Unfortunately, my wife wasn't too into Game of Thrones when we did that, so it was just kind of me being like, can we please do this? Can we please do this? And we did. But now I think that, I'd like to even go back again and see everything again because it's so pretty.
It really awesome. Is.
And then, so we get the Rhaenyra runs off. Were you picking up a little bit of like sexual tension between Cole? What's his name?
Kristen
Cole. Like,
yeah.
Are you? I don't know. I'm just imagining that. I mean,
what were you thinking?
Well, I don't know. They're just like two hot people. So it's like, what? Like am I
Alone
just, like,
in the woods.
Yeah, Alone in the Woods. Like,
I think so. I definitely felt that, and especially because her father's kind of trying to line her up with suitors, and her mind is there now, and she knows who she doesn't want. And so
Jason Lannister.
Sir Kristen Cole has been kind of the only person that she's been able to talk to and open up with, and just be honest with. And I did really enjoy their kind of like joking together and their realness with each other. I like when Sir Kristen was like, "Oh, should I kill him?" The Lannister.
that was pretty funny. Yeah, that was awesome. And then I enjoyed their scenes together. It didn't really do a whole lot to progress narrative, except for when they saw the white stag. What was it called?
The White Hart.
The White Hart. Mm-hmm. Is there anything like lore related to that?
Yeah. So back in Game of Thrones, I can't remember exactly where it is at, but I do remember Sansa, I believe, talking about the white stag and like how it's magical. And then in this episode, they refer to the White Hart, the white stag, as a symbol of royalty. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was interesting. And so I really liked the symbolism there, and I liked that they were trying to track it the whole time, and then they never found it. Viserys never got to it, and they had to even pull in a fake stag for him, like not the real white stag. But then Rhaenyra just comes to her, and she's just like, "Let it go," tells Kristen to let it go, which was pretty powerful, I think.
Yeah, that it honestly seems like a theme of the episode, like Viserys just settling for whatever is easy, the easy option. Okay, they have this stag, let me just kill it and move on his second try, which again might be a little bit of symbolism that he couldn't get it right on, he couldn't execute on the first try. He needed 2 tries to do it.
Yeah.
So that part of the episode was well and fine, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of on par with the first 2 episodes of like being a lot of political intrigue done really well. Everybody's conversations make a lot of sense. They talk about suitors a lot. Who was the guy that like proposes? So there's a few proposals. Mm-hmm. There's the Lannister guy that Rhaenyra shot down, and then there was like who proposed? Was it Otto Hightower that proposed that she marry Aegon?
Yeah. So he proposed Aegon, her brother. Her 2-year-old brother. And then Sir Lionel Strong comes, and he recommends that she marry Laenor Velaryon, which to me seems like the best match.
Yeah, that especially with what we see later on in the episode, they seem like they could be well suited. So they kind of just have those interesting conversations that are done really well. Really pretty costumes, scenery, just everything is top notch. But I think that these weren't the parts that blew me away with this episode. It was more the Daemon parts that were crazy.
When we got into the end there, we're really seeing fire and blood happening at the Stepstones, and that was exciting for sure. Daemon is such a complex character, and we really get to see that in this scene, where he straight up he receives this help from Viserys, or not yet, but he gets the letter that he's going to receive this help from King's Landing, these soldiers, these ships into the battle, and he sees that and he's like, screw you, like, no, I need to get the glory here, like I need to show my brother that I'm worthwhile, you know. And so he's trying to get his claim, you know. He's trying to prove his worth.
So do you think that this is all a bid for the throne, or do you think that he's like, how much of this is trying to be a good person, do the right thing, versus how much of it is trying to shore up a claim to the throne?
That's what's interesting, is because I feel like he's a hero in a sense for doing this, but he's also a bit crazy, you know. Like, is he power driven? Is that what's going on here? It's hard to tell, because he doesn't say much. Everyone's kind of just afraid of Daemon, and he's just like this. He's just this image, this power.
Yeah, I made a comment last night after we watched it that, like, I've kind of always struggled with, like, the D&D class of, like, chaotic neutral, but I feel like he really kind of exemplifies, like, chaotic neutral. Like, I don't know if he's doing things because they're good or bad, and, like, he's just, like, it's chaos. A lot of his decisions come down to, like, what he thinks, you know, is gonna, I don't know, I don't even want to say be right like Viserys did at the beginning, like,
yeah,
but just what he sees as beneficial at the time. I don't know. It's interesting. You never know what he's gonna do, I guess.
Yeah, and we also don't know. There could be so many layers there. We don't know his relationship with Viserys, and if that's really affecting what's going on, you know, with his character. So it's cool to just imagine, like, what he's thinking and what's going through his mind, because that was a suicide mission. He just straight up says, I'm going, and he goes alone, sails up there. You know, the crab feeder comes out of the cave. He's like giving up Dark Sister, and in that moment I was like, don't give up Dark Sister, are you kidding me? You're crazy. But I knew he had something up his sleeve, you know. Yeah, so
real quick before we get into the battle, it kind of makes the showdown from episode 2 when they were on the bridge with Otto Hightower and him, like, after watching that, I could see him even more now, just like saying screw it and like doing a suicide mission, just like kind of annihilating everybody on the bridge, just because that's what he thought he should do in the moment, you know, kind of like what he did in this moment, you know. So that makes that scene even more impactful to me too.
Yeah, that is interesting to think about.
Yeah. So anyway, so he gets this letter. He goes. He kind of does a suicide mission. I kind of question the stratagem from the crab feeder to like send all of his forces out into the open.
Well, he didn't, because he still had all the archers up there. He didn't send everyone. He still had like that whole cliff top force, whatever that was.
Yeah.
So it wasn't completely dumb, you know. It wasn't like the long night planning.
Well, and not only that, I feel like it was probably a lot of, like, I didn't even really see him. He was like commanding individual like groups to go, and then it seems like more and more people just like started going. True. Because they wanted to be the ones to take down Daemon.
Right.
Or like they were seeing their friends dying, and they're like, okay, well, if we just all swarm him, then we can put an end to this madness.
Right.
So I it's believable to me. It's just kind of, you know, a bad move on their part strategically.
Totally. But I mean, they would have had him, you know, if Corlys didn't show up with the rest of the forces to, you know, the cavalry to come save the day. So
man, anyway, the battle was super well executed. His moving through the forces was awesome. And then the dragons the strategy with the dragons was super cool. And I don't know, I just can't, that again just like brought the whole show up like so far in my eyes. Totally. It was already super good, but like this brings it up to like, okay, well, they can do the political intrigue, they can do the character development, they can do like dialogue and just basic like, you know, having characters sound intelligent, but now they can also, they brought the battle,
execute the battle scenes so well.
Important.
And man, I don't know if any of you guys were shocked, but when Laenor flew in on Sea Smoke, that just was beautiful. And he's just yelling Dracarys up there. It was so cool.
So I didn't even know that there was another dragon in the mix. I probably should have, but like, yeah, that was even more like, oh dang, there's a third. Well, I guess this is the third dragon we've seen now.
This is the third that we've seen, right? We've only seen Caraxes, Syrax, you know, and now Sea Smoke. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So now I want to have a quick conversation on who, based on these first 3 episodes, and not spoilers for later on in the book, but who you think should be the heir / take the throne. Like what do you think the best way, according to like the laws / like stability of the kingdom? Like if you're putting the kingdom first, what do you think should happen?
Me personally, I want to break the cycle of men always ruling. I think Rhaenyra is a great fit for the throne, and I think that she would just be awesome as a ruler. Just because she's breaking that cycle, she's stepping up as a woman, and but I do also think that it would cause some chaos within the realm, of course, because people are gonna fight against that, and but we can't always stay the same. There needs to be some change, some progression.
So Rhaenyra has really bugged me. Like, first of all, I think that she's a great character in terms of like the show putting forth a great character.
Yeah.
But I feel like she is just kind of being petulant, like for most of the time. I mean, I get that she is, that she has a lot of responsibility, and that she was like really hurt after her mom died, and that she feels betrayed by her best friend and her dad. Like, I get all that. But also, like, she's refusing to do what it takes to be a queen and to be a leader, you know? Like, she's refusing to really entertain suitors. She is like putting her own like desire for violence like against what the current leadership thinks is like wise, which you know, you can argue whether that's good or not, but like she's really not being responsible. She's not, you know, acting like I would hope a leader would act, and she's just kind of being selfish in my opinion. So there's my hot take.
I think that her grieving is good, and the way that she's processing things is definitely causing other people trouble for sure. But I do still give her the credit and give her the benefit of the doubt for what she's been through, and she just hasn't really had anyone to be like a father figure, or to really like listen and care to her. Like, I feel like Viserys has been in those first episodes just kind of like shutting her down. When she wants to learn something, she's not taught, you know. So yeah, I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt, but I do see where you're coming from with Rhaenyra, and yeah.
So I think what I would say, from what my base level of like understanding from what the show is presented, not really into like fire and blood stuff, but like I think the most responsible thing to do would be to have like Viserys reign, and then if Aegon has come of age, then name him heir and leave Rhaenyra as heir in the meantime, and then like have Rhaenyra hopefully step back if Aegon is like a good fit for the throne. I don't know, but then there's just so much uncertainty. But like if she's just gonna like refuse to get married, refuse to shore up her, you know, claim to the throne by having like offspring, it just seems like she doesn't want it. So
right, and we do gotta get that she doesn't want it in the first episode, right? But then when she was promised to be heir, and she got this secret passed down to her from her father, like that was powerful, and I think that probably changed her attitude about the whole situation.
She's not really acting like it. Like she's like, okay, well, who can I?
Well, she hasn't been given any sort of you are heir. Besides
everybody kneeling to her and
besides that,
her heir,
that seems like it should be enough. She went straight back to just being a cupbearer for the King Council, you know, the small council, and that's people just aren't treating her like they're not seeing her as a serious heir.
So, what do you think, Daemon? Do you think Daemon is going to become like the choice of the people, like because of his bravery on the? I mean, I guess this is all maybe. Like if you know that this happened, but try to avoid spoilers from Fire and Blood.
Yeah.
But like it seems to me like Daemon is going to be the pick of the people, and then Rhaenyra is going to be the pick of the king. Blanking on his name, and then Aegon is going to be the pick of like the small council. That's kind of like what my view of it is. That to me.
That's a cool way to look at it.
So
it's interesting though, because we don't really know if Daemon wants the throne yet.
It's true.
We're not too sure on that.
It's true.
It was cool to kind of see, like, going along with what you said, him being the pick of the people, like, when that guy was like staked to the beach
and he's
by
like,
the tide, and he's just like, Prince Daemon, save me, all hail Prince Daemon, before he gets crushed by the dragon.
Daemon's the symbolism behind that is pretty.
Yeah, that dragons are not to be messed with. But yeah, like I could see that being the case where he's doing the most to liberate people.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's everything I want to talk about. Again, I think my favorite episode so far. I'm super stoked for where the season is going. Anything you want to close up with?
No, I think that's great, and really, really enjoyed the episode, and really looking forward to the next one. The preview looked great. So
awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we're excited to see you next week for episode 4.
Peace.